I mean, I'm just so embarrassed. Like
About what?
we have this esteemed division, the American League East, and it's a battle. I mean, we've got two of what the four most prestigious clubs in the history of the sport in this
Yes.
division, the Yankees and the Red Sox. And these fucking idiot three teams, the Orioles, the Blue Jays, the Rays, they go out here and they play like this in the playoffs. Zero combined wins.
Zero.
The Red Sox, the 2023 Boston Red Sox had more October wins than the Orioles and the Blue Jays.
I like that slant. I'm gonna have to start. I'm gonna have to jack that one. I like that
It's
slant.
a real stat. Like
It's a real stat. I like
I
that
wish that
slant.
was a
I'm gonna have to
joke.
jack it. Yeah, it's not a
These
joke.
fucking bozos, mom and dad go to sleep, and the kids just start smashing cookie jars all over the house. The fuck?
Hey man, look, I've heard a lot of shit all year about Tampa. I've heard a lot of shit for what 3 years now about the Blue Jays, and it's not this is going to be the sequel. No, this is the sequel. Oh no, this is the film. Wait till we get the sequel next year. Da, 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 da. I'm still waiting for that movie. Like, or did we get the movie and it just fucking stinks? Because that's what the last two
Yeah.
years of the
I mean,
Toronto Blue Jays baseball has been. So them not winning any playoff games is just delightful. Like I mean, the Orioles don't give a fuck about the Orioles. Like whatever. Cool. Do you? The Blue Jays and the Rays, them winning no playoff games combined, and the Blue Jays losing to the Twins is just extremely funny. And they didn't even compete. They didn't even compete. They scored no runs in game two. They didn't even compete.
no, they didn't compete. It's becoming an annual tradition. I love the Guerrero family. Vladdy Sr. is one of my favorite players ever. Vladdy Jr. is a tremendous joy to watch. But my pal at Red Sox Stats says, like, every year there's a new sad Vlad picture of him sitting on the bench, isolated in the dugout. And it's like, we can't have, like, the Blue Jays, pathetic, just pathetic. I mean, losing to the Twins, who the Yankees they're largely responsible for that losing streak.
Yes.
They showed a stat tonight. Royce Lewis is second in postseason Twins history in home runs
I'm assuming
already.
behind Kirby Puckett.
Yeah, but it's by one. It's 5-4. Like it's not a blowout. And he's played like
Right.
what,
It's
four
not Kirby got
games?
22 and Royce got 4. No, it's 5-4, man. 5-4. Five
He,
postseason home runs being your leader in franchise history is pathetic. And I say this knowing good and well that the postseason home run list, number one is like what, 25? If I'm not mistaken, it's like 26. So it's not like number
probably,
one's
yeah.
85.
I mean, Bryce tonight, and we'll get to more on Bryce, but he just set the record for home runs in the NLDS, like not in a single NLDS ever. And it was 9, which feels
Right. It feels low.
shocking.
It feels low, but that's what I mean. I know Manny has the record. It's like what 28, 27, whatever it is. It ain't even 30, so it's not like it's a
Right.
lot of home runs. But still, bro, you've been around long enough to have more than five. Five being your bro. Harrison Bader hit like 5 last year.
He
Like I'm not
did,
making this
yeah.
up. That is the thing that happened. He hit like 5 last year. Like 5. Your whole franchise history. All you got is 5 at the top of the leaderboard. Sad.
Well, the 4 is sad because, like, no one was on the team long enough to cobble together 5 over the. They get to the playoffs
True.
plenty.
True,
You know what
true,
I
true,
mean?
true. You would think Joe Mauer or Justin Morneau would have more than 5. You would think.
You would assume. And, like, I'm trying to think, like, someone random, like Torrey Hunter. Torrey Hunter didn't do it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Uh,
and that's who the Blue Jays lost to. I say all that to say this. That's who the Blue Jays got packed up by. The Rays, I mean, they had a very weird season as only the Rays could. But they just got smoked. And then the Orioles, what they led the first inning. Is that what happened? They led like the very first inning of game
um,
1.
I think that was the case. Yes, I think.
Hicks hit that. He got that 2 RBI hit, and then that
Yeah.
was that.
No, that was
That
game
was,
two. That was game two. That was game two. And that was it. Like
okay.
that was the last time they led. I'm pretty sure it was like 2-0, and that was it. Like they didn't lead again. I think the Rangers promptly tied it the next half inning, and that was it. They were like, yeah, we got this. We're
It's
not gonna let the foot off your neck, bro. We got this.
no, the Rangers. I don't know if someone said something to the Rangers. They look terrifying at the moment.
Their
Uh,
offense is no joke. Like the
well,
pitching, shaky, but their offense is no joke.
it's weird because the 18 Red Sox went into the postseason with the shakiest bullpen I've ever seen. It was
Yep.
like for a team that won 108 games, if anyone had anything to complain about, it was the bullpen.
Right.
And then it was game 2 against the Yankees. Price gets shelled. And so it's a bullpen game from there on out. And that's when the bullpen kind of like locked in and gained form. The Rangers still haven't had that game. Like our Chapman was out there in the closeout game, fucking trying to play one more.
Trying to make shit exciting. I've never seen that one before. I don't know anything about that.
So I don't like. They're gonna have to keep making these 5, 6, 7 run leads because the bullpen is going to give some of it back, no doubt.
Yeah, the bullpen is spotty. Their starting pitching is fine, especially if Scherzer comes back. I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna just throw him into the middle of a playoff series. I'm not sure how that's gonna go, but it's better than what they have.
I
So,
don't think he's too worried about it.
sure, but the Astros might not be too worried about it either. So
Definitely,
right. So that's kind of
certainly
what
on the
it is.
table.
They are not where and if Jose Abreu keeps playing like hitting like this, he just hit another fucking home run. Just give them the trophy. Like why waste time here? Just give them the damn trophy. If Jose Abreu is going to turn back the clock to like 4 years ago, give him the trophy. Spare us all the time. We don't just set up the parade. We don't need to do this.
I don't know. Like, well, and like I say, we'll get to the Phillies. If they're going to keep playing like this with a vengeance, with blood in their mouths, like they can taste it, I'm not going to hand the trophy to anybody. Like I'm going to need to see those games play out.
Yeah, I mean,
And
no doubt. I'm joking, but yes, the Phillies
sure,
are really good, and I mean they have arguably the best duo. Well, I mean, Nola's 2023 was a little spotty, to be fair, but when they're both at their best, like that duo is as good as anybody left.
who do you think the best individual pitcher standing is? Because I don't know that it's close.
The best individual pitcher standing left is I think it's Wheeler, right?
I think it's Evaldi.
This is a philosophy question. Like, what do you put more weight on? Do you put the weight on of all these postseason numbers because they are
Yes, I'm
incredible?
only talking postseason numbers.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, I mean, I don't know what the fuck Wheeler's postseason numbers are off the top of my head. All I know
he's
is
good. He's definitely in the
right. All
conversation.
I
He
know
wasn't
is
who I had in
Evaldi's
mind
ERA
for
is like
2 though.
2.1, and this is like a large enough postseason sample size where you can say, okay,
Sure.
he has another year. So like, yeah, if you ask me who I would give the ball to for one game, saying Evaldi, sure, I'm not gonna argue with it.
I think it's Evaldi, and then I might go Javier too. Javier, what like you talk about up and down in the regular season this year, he was. I was watching him pitch against post All-Star break Red Sox, and if they had an ounce of confidence in that lineup, he would have got teed off on. And that was, I think his ERA was around 4 all season. Like
Yeah,
for a guy who threw like 18 perfect innings against the Yankees spread out over like 3 starts last year, he was not that crisp this regular season.
I
And
mean
then he
the
comes out,
Yankees tagged him this year. The Yankees tagged
right.
nobody. They tagged him. Like they tagged nobody. They got to him. Yeah, but the other day his start was incredible.
He just shows up in the
It looked like he
postseason.
didn't miss a beat from last year, like the year
Right.
before. It looked like he didn't miss a single beat.
Right. He may be like he's also a guy too who has only known postseason success since he stepped into the league. He may just be
Mhm.
bored in the regular season. Like he may have just been like, I
He may be
will
one
be
of those
fine.
guys. He may be just trying shit. He just doing shit just to do it in the regulars. He's like, all right, hey man, all right, this is October. This is what you want me to get excited for this May 24th start?
Yeah.
I'm not here for this shit. You know I'm here for October 12th. You know I'm good or well I'm not here for this shit. I'm just bored trying new shit. Let me try a splitter. Like, fuck it, let's see where this goes. Like, maybe he's that guy. Who knows?
If we get Evaldi Javier, that's going to be an unbelievable duel. Like I like that it's going to be all Texas. No offense to the Twins. Happy they got off the
Shit,
20.
all offense to the Twins from me. Like, I'm glad y'all out of there. No, like, yeah, all disrespect. But keep going.
Oh, I mean Rangers Twins. They may have just canceled. Like no one was watching that. That's not.
I
Manfred
know.
would have changed it himself.
Like, no, Manfred would have stepped in before he even got there. He'd been like, "Yo, umpires, yo, you think we're gonna let Rangers? I don't care what you have to do. Yes, I know you can't hit the ball for them. Fine, but you're gonna call everything a ball or a strike depending on who pitching, and we're gonna make this happen because ain't nobody here for Rangers Twins, not a soul.
No. He's like, look, the Dodgers are an AL team now. They're playing the Rangers. It's gonna be Dodgers, Rangers. Sorry, Twins. Uh,
Yeah. The Dodgers just got swept. So what? The realignment. Yeah.
I mean, I would love nothing more than to watch Kershaw keep. That's what I'm upset about. There are so few Kershaw playoff starts left in his career to just keep ballooning that ERA. Like he's Evaldi's a fine regular season pitcher. He's pitched for both of our teams. And when he left the Yankees, I don't even know if he went directly to the Rays. He may have went somewhere else first, but like no Yankee fan was upset when he left, and no Red Sox fan was like creaming themselves when they acquired him. He was just always like, okay, yeah, like he's got
I don't
great
think anybody's
stuff.
ever been excited to acquire Nathan Eovaldi. Like, I obviously don't mean that as disrespect, but he's a boring pitcher, and like most of what you get regular season wise, kind of like, okay, he cool or whatever. Like he ain't great. Like the end of the playoff start, it's like, all right, something goes on and he becomes one of the best pitchers walking earth. So like I don't think anybody's ever been like, man, I can't believe we got Nathan Eovaldi, and that's no disrespect to him. He's just not an inner circle guy like that to begin excited over.
Well, where did he start with the Marlins? I feel like he or
Nathan Eovaldi's played for so many goddamn teams. I don't know
played
who
for
he
all
started
of
with.
them.
I don't know where. Like, bro, I forget he played for the Yankees. Like
A lot of
every
people
now and
do.
again, I forget he. You just I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Every time somebody says Eovaldi plays for the Yankees, it's the same goddamn reaction in my head. It's like, oh yeah, that's right, he did play for the Yankees because he wasn't very good for the Yankees. He wasn't.
Okay,
He was
so
fine.
he pitched what's this 20 games for the Dodgers when he was 21 and 22, got traded to the Marlins. So he became a full-time player with the Marlins. And then he was with the Yankees for 2 years. I thought it was only one.
Yeah, he was.
But the first year he went 14 and 3, 4.2 ERA, and 154 innings. So that's the guy I think most Red Sox fans remember. It's like when he pitches, he's going to shove and he's going to yell while he throws 103 miles an hour. But his arm's also going to fall off at any given moment, and he's going to miss 2 months. And he missed 144 innings this year for Texas. You know what I mean? Like he missed a big
He's
chunk of the
always gonna
season.
miss time. Like he's always
Texas going into September, we talked about it on this show because the show was relatively new. We were like, are they going to fuck around and are they going to be the third team out? They stumbled into September and they have just caught fire in a way that no one wants to play them right now. Corey Seager takes 3 walks a night and hits a home run. It's absurd what they're doing.
He's terrifying. Corey Seager's terrifying. And what's funny about Corey Seager is you look at his playoff history, and like he's been very bad outside of one stadium, and that's the one that he's in. Like go look it up. Like there was 2020, the pandemic year. He was great,
Right.
and then obviously this year, like he's been doing numbers. And I mean, granted, all of the like the 72 walks he's drawn, not all of them have come in Texas, but to be fair,
Yeah.
right? But all of it, most of his playoff success has come in Globe Life or whatever the fuck they call it. Is it Globe Life? Yeah, that stadium. Most of his playoff success has come there. But incredible player, incredible season.
Yeah. The Rangers, Evan Carter's come up. He's been nails. He was
Evan
down
Carter's my
0-2.
kind of player.
He's
My kind of
he was
player.
he was down 0-2 to Grayson Rodriguez, and this was while it was still a game. He was down 0-2, and then he just spit on the next 4 pitches. The 4th pitch was very borderline. It could have went either way, but the fact that he's standing there in like his 9th career game and just spitting on 4 straight pitches
Yes.
down 0-2 in an inning that I believe kind of cracked it open for them. You don't see that from rookies in the regular season, let alone the playoffs.
The man has 70 grade plate discipline. Like his eyes insane. Like I don't know about the like to me he is Brandon Nimmo. It's the same kind of player, like except he's not sprinting to first after walks like a fucking herd. But besides that, they're the same kind of player. Like good defense, good speed, gonna not gonna chase, gonna take their walks. Very productive player.
They've just been. I mean, Garcia got into it. He hit a tank and had now the second best picture of the playoffs with his bat flip, and it's one of those things. Baseball manager gets so overlooked, and largely rightfully so.
Right.
Bruce Bochy is that guy, though. There are guys who can turn it the other way too, and some managers only are that dialed in for a season at a time. Bochy
Mm-hmm.
just kind of knows the game as well. I think this is the third different franchise he's brought to a championship CS series uh, throughout different eras. Like this is a guy who knows baseball
And I think a lot of what makes managers good we don't see anyway.
for
And when
sure.
you do this at 3 different stops, clearly you have the juice. Like, because yeah, the talent says what it says on the Texas Rangers for sure. But the Texas Rangers have had, I'm not going to say a tumultuous season. I feel like I was putting too much on it. But they've
Sure.
dealt with their injuries. They've dealt with
Mhm.
a September fucking swoon. And they get to the playoffs and hit the ground running and start dominating. Now, is that more about the fact that the AL East stinks? We'll see. We will see.
Doesn't
We don't know.
hurt. What
We
was
don't know.
it? What was it? Like Mitch Garver hadn't played in like 2 months or something, and then he had him batting third. Like he
Yeah.
was, you know what
Mhm.
I mean? And then he fucking starts ripping the ball all over the park. So it's like that's where that's pregame, that's talking to the guys, that's the analytic shit. I assume people it never even comes up because when right decisions happen based on what the book says and they
Mhm.
don't make a big deal of it, then it doesn't get all the headlines and stuff. But
Right.
when you
It's
pull
the
Jose
nuance.
Barrios, everyone's like, "What?" Because that's what I was thinking when I was watching Evaldi close out that series. I was like, "He's Bochy's just got his like hand over him. Like, let me just feel your aura. When it goes poorly, I'll pull you." And he's still pumping like 101, 98, trying to get that last punch out. And he finally gets it to end the 7th. He's like, good. A, I needed that because I'm about to bring in Aroldis Chapman. And B, then B, it worked. You know what I mean? Wheeler, you could even say he was great. His last start, they left
Mhm.
him in a little bit too long. And that's where it's
Yeah.
like, can the manager sense when it's right to pull him? Can I not try and push this guy for one extra out if it means my reliever is not going to have a clean sheet? You know what I mean? I'd much rather, like, in the grand scheme of things, what's going to end up better for me? Getting one extra out from my pitcher or guaranteeing my relievers coming in, getting his full routine, and then nobody on base. Like what?
There's nothing. Listen, as somebody who's watched Aaron Boone manage for 5 years, and let me make myself clear, I'm not as down on Aaron Boone as the masses. I think he's your garden variety average manager, right? But watching him try and steal outs is irritating. Number one, and number two, trying to steal outs in playoff games is even more irritating in
Right.
general because it's like, bruh, you have to win 3 out of 5. You're in game two. You have the game in a chokehold. If you think if Zach Wheeler putting one runner on base and get him removed, just remove him to start the fucking inning, bro. Just,
Right.
just give the fucking reliever a clean slate. The Phillies don't have a bad bullpen, so it's
No, they
just
don't.
if
They
you're
don't.
going to remove him after he put one runner on base, just remove him. And mind you, I see both sides of this here because Zach Wheeler is your best pitcher, period. So like, if you want to keep him in the game, that's defensible. Now, me generally, I'd rather pull him too early than too late, guy. Like, I'd rather just pull him too early. Like if I pull him too early and it backfires, I'd much rather that than be Grady Little. Much
Well,
rather that than be Grady Little.
I mean, that's exactly where my mind will always go when you talk about like the best, not like a good pitcher, the best pitcher
Yeah.
is telling you it's I got Matsui. No, you don't. I
Right. No, you
promise you.
don't. Right. No, you don't. I have people warm. This is not a situation where you have to stall. No, you had people warm, and you're like, nah. I trust Pedro at 168 pitches to get through this. Why would you? Why?
Listen, at the moment, I'm not going to sit here genuinely 20 years later and pretend like I wouldn't have also left Pedro in the game. Now, I was 13 years old. Like that's
Right.
and Pedro was like a hero, still is, but at that moment, especially a literal hero to me. So it's like, oh, he's going to go all 240 pitches. Like, and I'm sure Pedro
and he'll
also
be
thought that
and
way.
he'll be fine to pitch game one of the next series too. Even
I'll
after
pitch
240
tomorrow.
pitches, he'll
Yeah.
be fine.
Look, that's where Grady Little, and I mean, he was fired immediately. And I can't say it didn't work out for everyone not named Grady Little after that.
Pretty much.
But how, like, you couldn't have a more, and I do think that Grady Little leaving, really getting bullied by Pedro on the mound. I do think like when Kevin Cash pulled Snell, like I think that's what he thought of. Like I guarantee you that crossed his mind at some point. Like Grady Little lost his job. But great. I would also, the other side of it, I'd rather lose my job with my best guy like Pedro than like Kevin Cash and with my worst guy. You know what I mean?
Right, right. Like there's a fine line, and I don't think there's any right or wrong answer. I will say that the noise comes because of what people like. People like watching a starter try and battle through shit, which shit, so do I. I don't dislike it. Like watching Garrett Cole's complete game against Houston, whatever, 3 years, 4 years, however long ago it was, where he finished the game at like 119 pitches. Watching him battle through the ninth was fun. Yeah, it is more fun to watch a starter try and navigate and compete at that level through adversity in which his gas tank is on E. I get it. But I understand the other side of, hey, and the thing is with Blake Snell, everything in his career that's followed has said basically like, yeah, you probably should pull him.
Sure.
Everything. Like this year, he must have made it past the six like once or twice, whatever it was.
I genuinely think the number was 3, if I
Yeah,
remember correctly.
yeah, right. So just everything since has said Kevin Cash was on to some shit. And I still maintain I just don't understand why you brought in somebody who hasn't got nobody out in a month. Like that's
Right.
Nick Anderson got nobody out for like a month. It was just batting practice. He's coming in like you knew the other team was gonna score. That's how it was. And he's like, you know what we're gonna do with our season line? We're gonna bring in our worst bullpen arm and take out Blake Snell, who was dealing, whatever, and we're gonna put in our worst bullpen arm. And then it went how it went. Good, I say, because fuck the Tampa Bay Rays. But yeah, no, go Dodgers.
I don't know if there's any managerial move across sports that's more results over process
Yes.
looked at than how you use your bullpen and starter, especially trying to push him too long or pull him too early. There's nothing more like whenever it works, you never hear about it. It's never like great job maneuvering it. And to be fair, I'm not going to turn into like a 1920s baseball fan here, but there is something that feels a little bit like cheating going to your bullpen. It's like, oh, my starter's in a jam. Let me call my pal to get me out of it. Like it does feel a little like cheating. Like, oh, he's tired. Let's get someone else.
Bro, especially when they do it in the third inning. And it's like, bro, he's thrown 27 pitches. Like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? It feels a little cheap, like a little bit, a smidgen, a little cheap. But I understand why people do it.
No doubt. Like it definitely got too. I shit on the pitch clock as much as anyone publicly has, at least. But the one rule I do like is the batter limit, because it was getting very out of hand in terms
Yes.
of every reliever for every. You would see teams sub out 3 guys and nobody threw a pitch because it was just like, well, I'm bringing in my lefty, I'm bringing in my righty hitter. Okay, well, I'm bringing in my righty pitcher. Well, I'm bringing in another lefty. It's like, well, now 4 people can't even play in this game anymore.
Bro, I'm gonna wait until they announce his name, and then I'm gonna bring in somebody else, and then we're gonna do this run around 3 times in the next 20 minutes of game action. It's like, all right, I get it, like matchup and all of this. Okay, cool. We're going to do away with, or more or less eliminate, the left-handed pitcher who can only get left-handers out, because that is the biggest result of this. Like, the left-hander who can only get left-handers out. Well, you're going to have to get somebody else out, unless they're going to magically bring you in at 2 outs in every single inning that you pitch, where you just have to pitch to one batter and then you get them out and then you get a clean inning. That's not realistic. So all those left-handers who just all they could do is get left-handers out, well, you're gonna have to learn a new trick.
Yeah, I mean, watching the evolution of bullpens really over the last 20 years has been in, like, Mike Timlin and Alan Embree. We didn't have anyone else other than those two. Like, if it wasn't going to be Folk or any of the other failed closers after that until Papelbon showed up, like, it was just Embree's your lefty, Timlin's your righty. However long you need them, they're going to be out there.
That's what it was.
And then Folk's going to also, if it's tied, he's going to be going to the 11th and expecting to pitch tomorrow.
That's what it was. And everybody was a multi-inning reliever back then.
Yeah,
now you have specialized guys do it. Everybody was a multi-inning reliever back then. Everybody could do it in a pinch. Like the Yankees, for example, didn't really have to, but even they did it plenty. Like Jeff Nelson went an inning and 2/3, plenty. Ramiro Mendoza went more than that, plenty, on down the line. So everybody could do it if they were brought to task to do it.
There are a few times in my life I've been as excited for a free agent signing as I was when the Red Sox got Ramiro Mendoza after he had tormented me for years. And he was terrible. He was just so cooked. He was just absolutely done. 03, he had a crisp 6.75 ERA over 37 games.
Real Yankee.
So as bad, 10 home runs, as bad as someone can pitch. To be fair to him, in 04, which he must have gotten hurt, because I do not remember him anywhere near those playoffs.
He was not on those. He was not on that team in the playoffs, so he must have got hurt long before then.
But he went 2-1, 3.52 ERA over 27 games. Like, I'll take that. For sure, take that.
Right. Especially from a guy eating 2-3 innings at a time. For sure, you'll take it.
Yeah, he went back to the Yankees where he pitched maybe one pitch, with an 18 ERA.
Damn, that's tough.
He threw an inning and he just gave up a 2-run bomb. That was that. That was the end of his. He was
I know this is not how it happened, but just picturing him throwing that pitch and then just like the Seinfeld GIF from Curb, where he just leaves. Like, I just picture him doing that. Is very funny. Just throw the glove up and just walk off the mound. Like, yeah, I'm done. I've had enough. Thank you.
But we're talking early 2000s Red Sox, Yankees, baseball in general, which I didn't expect, but Red Sox, Yankees. You reminded me today. It is, at the time of recording, the 20th anniversary of Pedro Martinez rightfully defending himself against a crazy.
Rightfully defending himself is a crazy way to frame that, but keep going.
Wow, we blame the Matador when the bull charges him? I don't think so.
No. I didn't blame Pedro. Let me make myself clear here. Rightfully defending himself is putting a little bit too much on it. He could have moved out the way. It's way funnier that he didn't. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad he did what he did. Don't get me wrong. Rightfully defending himself is a stretch at best.
I don't remember Pedro being the slot receiver for Peyton Manning. He wasn't supposed to just catch that hospital ball and get tackled to the earth's core by that middle linebacker, Don Zimmer.
Manning catches shades, man.
I'm doing some hating on the Yankees, and Peyton gets folded into that. And 2004, there was no better two people to hate than the New York Yankees and Peyton Manning. Same fucking people as far as
I enjoy a good 2-for-1, man. Go off. I enjoy a good 2-for-1. Go off.
But And tell me if you agree with this, because you're obviously the other side of the same coin. I forget constantly. I know I had this conversation with Jared earlier this year. I forget constantly when moments happened from really 03, 04, because those feel like the years it was like really in the broiler. Because they were playing 19 times a year in the regular season, and then they were playing 7 games in the ALCS. All, what's that quick math, 45 games? All 45 felt like playoff games. Every single one of them felt
No, it was
like a
more than
playoff
45.
game.
It was 50,
38. Oh, I didn't add the
52.
other 7.
Yeah,
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 I didn't
52.
add the other 7.
Yeah,
So yeah, all 52 of those games felt like playoff, at least on
sure
this
did.
side.
Sure did. Sure did. Listen, for me, and yes, I speak from a position of bias and familiarity. There's no better 2 years of a rivalry than that one. To me, I can't speak for it, but to me, bro, every single one of those games, and bro, mind you, this is me at 16. I was tired after those games. I wasn't playing in them, and I was tired after those games, bro. That's how much those games meant. And if you ask me about regular season baseball today, I'm like, fuck these games. I don't give a fuck about them. This is May. I'm not supposed to care about this.
Right.
May 5th, Yankees, Red Sox in '04. I'm pulling up a chair. I'm sweating. Every pitch feels like it's the last that's going to be thrown. Like, it was incredible for 2 years.
So this, like the Zimmer one, I don't recall being in the playoffs until I really stop and think, because we had just played Oakland the previous round, and Miguel Tejada was trying to fight us every fucking game, that whole series. And so then I can start remembering, oh yeah, it was just really tense every
Yes.
minute of
Yes.
every day. It was very
Yes.
fucking tense, and it doesn't get more tense than Red Sox Yankees. And Don Zimmer deciding, like, that little fucking guy, I'm gonna show him, because Pedro at this point too, he's been in Boston when he gets there in 98, 97. So he's been in this for a while. Like, this
Yeah.
isn't new, and this isn't. He's been cussing out Babe Ruth's ghost for years now, and if this is definitely post Who Is Kareem Garcia, right? Or was that 2004?
I don't remember he threw at Kareem Garcia in the game, so I'm gonna guess that it came that same year. I guess the quote came after, or did he do it? I don't remember. I know he threw at Kareem Garcia in that game because Manny overreacted to a pitch that was nowhere near his fucking head. Like the next
I've
inning.
nearly killed him. Nearly
Right.
killed him.
Manny reacted that way. It was like he was looking for a reason, which I don't blame him whatsoever. But he was looking for a reason. So I don't remember when the Pedro quote came, but I know he threw at Kareem Garcia in that game.
Who the fuck is Kareem Garcia? He just did not care for.
Like, and I mean, shit. Can I fault him for that? Like, who is Kareem Garcia for real? Like, for real. Like, he played for my favorite team. Who is Kareem Garcia for real? I remember him most for getting thrown at. Like, that's the only thing I
Right.
remember he did as a Yankee. Him getting thrown at by Pedro Martinez in the same game that Don Zimmer touched Fenway grass.
Oh, face first. Like, that
Face
was. I don't.
first.
I just, and he's deceased, so I don't know that we'll ever get. I don't know if he. I don't remember if he spoke on it after, but like, what
I
was
don't
his
remember it either.
plan? What was?
That's the thing. That is the thing. Like, my guy, you are in your late 70s, bro. Like, if you were 30 years younger, maybe. But like you're charging like if Pedro was kind enough to let you get him in his grasp, what are we gonna do next? Well, like I know he wasn't thinking that far ahead. Don was a little bit off in the head. I mean, you have to be if you're damn near 80, charging a fucking 30-year-old professional starting pitcher. You have to be a little bit off. He's a little bit off. But even people who are off, like they might not have a 6-step plan, but they might have 2 steps.
Yeah.
His first step, charge Pedro. What the fuck was next? What were you gonna do?
And like the reason I mean, I was never gonna. Pedro could have like taken out a sword and killed him, and I would have been like completely justifiable. But the reason I give Pedro a lot of slack here, because he was immediately criminalized for this. I mean, it was '03. It was a brown guy doing it to an old white guy. People weren't pumped. People weren't People didn't understand the whole like defending himself angle.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I
like
hated
I
I
remember,
hated it too at that time. Not because of anything other than the hat that he was wearing and the hat that Don
of
was wearing. I hated
course,
it for no
yeah,
other reason than that.
of course, which is completely understand. I don't expect Yankee
But even
fans to
I
be like,
found like the pearl clutching to be ridiculous. I'm just like, okay, I hate this because Don's my guy. He's on my favorite team, but like he didn't murder him. Like he charged him and he threw him down. Like, could Pedro move out the way? Yeah, of course he could have.
through he gently glides him down to a seated position.
Listen, fine. You want to say threw him lightly? Whatever, bro. Guided him to the ground. However we want to put this. Don took a hellacious fall.
If he had just simply stepped to the left, I think he ends up in the same position on the ground. I don't think
Right, and nobody would say anything. That's the thing. That's what you say rightfully defend. I'm like, okay, let's calm
he
down.
has the complete his personal space was invaded, and he fixed his problem really quick. But
I mean, listen, Don was asking for smoke and he got it.
he sure did.
Like he was asking for smoke and he got it. I'm not age discriminatory when it comes to that, bro. You ask for smoke and you get it. You get it. Not like he killed him. Like I feel like that was a pretty appropriate reaction.
Oh yeah,
It was an appropriate reaction to it.
people for sure acted like when Will Smith smacked Chris Rock, like he could have killed him. Like he could, he genuinely could.
Oh my god, bro! Like that,
But
like Will should never be allowed back at the Oscar. Like, relax, bro.
yeah,
Like, Pedro should be suspended for the year. For what? For what? He pushed him to the ground, threw him, or whatever word we want to use, to the ground. Don got up, he held his head. He must have got a band-aid later on, and he was fine. And everything was fine.
He got up like every drunk getting thrown out of a bar. Like, where am I? Like,
rightfully, he damn near 80, he was damn near 80 years old, like stumbling around, like, yo, what just happened? Like, bro, you just charged the wrong guy. Like, you charged the one guy here who probably was gonna do that. Like, everybody else might have just moved out your way and just let you do what you do. Pedro was not having that bullshit. Pedro was like, hey man, look, listen, Pedro was on some fuck the Yankees time. It didn't matter who the fuck was wearing the Yankees hats. So, like, do I think David Ortiz does that? I don't think so.
David Ortiz, and again, I can't remember if this was the Veritek. It must have been the Veritek A-Rod scuffle. But they thing, right? They cut, and I shout out the Fox segment producer because Ortiz would still be in the clink if he didn't cut away from like the most damning evidence. I'll never forget it. It's Ortiz and I want to say Trot, and Trot's just got Tang and Sturts, and I'm not 100% sure it was Trot, but it was somebody else. He's just got Tang and Starts on the ground, and all I remember seeing is David Ortiz has a bat above his head like this.
Oh wow!
Like he's trying to ring the bell at the fucking carnival. Like he's trying to. And as he starts bringing it down, they cut away, and I was like, "Is he okay? Is he alive? Is that person on the other end of that alive?"
Man, fuck the Fox cameraman for that shit. David Ortiz terrorized the Yankees for like another fucking 12 years after that. He would have been out of here if you'd just let us see him assaulting Tang and Sturts with a bat. He'd have been out of here.
I remember I asked him about like the fights back then, and he was trying to give like a very like political answer. I was like, David, you nearly killed a man, and he started laughing. He was like, yeah, things got out of hand. Yeah,
clearly, David, clearly.
But with the Zimmer fight, like I remember there was a Sports Science probably around like 06, 07 where they were comparing the force LeBron generated with a dunk to Mike Tyson's like straight right. And it was like the same like torque and pounds per minute or whatever the fuck. Can you imagine what Pedro's punch was? Like peak Pedro pitching? Like he has complete, like throwing a pitch and throwing a punch are nearly identical.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure if he had punched him again, another murder. There was like that would have, his head would have came smooth off his body.
A punch, that would have been ugly, bro.
Oh,
and didn't Pedro have? Doesn't Pedro have gigantic hands?
massive.
Yeah, massive. Yeah, that would have been problematic, bro. That would have been problematic, bro. Like they might have had to stop the game, like stop the
Oh,
game, not play it again. A lot of things would have happened if Pedro would have thrown a punch at Don Zimmer.
yeah.
Thankfully, he didn't. Thankfully, he just gently threw him to the ground.
this
Thankfully.
is what I've been saying for decades now. Like this was the best case scenario for every. Like we all get a laugh out of it. No one was seriously hurt. He got one of those like old fashioned blue ice packs with the fucking twist off part, so you can refill it. Like everything was fine.
Listen, for like a good 7 years after that happened, I was too consumed with hate to really understand the humor. But like at some point when I was, maybe it was like '09, I must have saw it again because they ran the clip, and I'm like, God damn! This whole time I haven't been laughing at this. This is fucking hilarious. This is
So
hysterical.
funny.
This is
So
like
goddamn
God was
funny.
asking for smoke as the whole like the act itself was funny. Watching his head bounce off the ground was funny. Sorry, I don't care. I don't know if that offends. Sorry if it does. Sorry, it was funny, but the surrounding context was also very funny. The look on Pedro's face, like, excuse me, like what is he doing? Funny. Don Zimmer like charging him in the first place. Funny. Everything was funny. The whole thing was funny. Every year it gets funnier. Every year I laugh harder at this. It's great.
For like early after he hits Garcia earlier in the game, I think it's Posada. Someone on the Yankees bench is
Yeah,
chirping
oh, it's
him like,
definitely Posada.
yeah,
and Pedro starts pointing at the head. Yeah, that was Posada.
Pedro's like, I'll fucking kill you. I really, it doesn't bother me. I'll be home for dinner either way. Like I'm not too concerned.
Dude. Like that's the kind of beef that goes on forever. They still don't like each other. That's great. I appreciate that.
Oh, Posada. Well, it was the Jeter documentary ESPN did that only you sick people watched.
Well, I gotta be sick.
Only listen, the Jordan documentary had the world enthralled. The Jeter one, not so much.
Oh, you mean the Jordan Puff piece? That one?
I'm sure Jeter's was real hard hitting
Oh,
journalist.
of course it was. It was objective analysis on both sides. They even chronicled the '03, the '04 ALCS. Real hard hitting TV.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up because Posada, with like the deadest eyes I've ever seen a human speak, he's like, I've watched that throw to try and get Dave Roberts. He's like, I watch it every morning. And he's timed it with a stopwatch. He said whatever the amount, it's like 1.6, however long he went to throw it. Like he says that number to the 10th of a second. Like someone just ran their 40 at a pro day. And he's just saying it, and he's like 1.6 seconds. Don't know how I didn't get him. It's just like Jesus, man. This is.
You might want to let that go, Jorge. You might want to let
It's
that
not.
go.
He's not going to.
It happened 19 years ago. Granted, like I get it, historic collapse. Y'all are one of one. I understand that, one of one. But hey, man, you can't make the throw. You can't make the throw. Like you say 1.6 when you wake up in the morning every morning. It's not going to do anything.
I rewatched that steal, and every time I think he's gonna get him. Like I'm not even bullshitting. Like every single time I'm like, I don't. He's dead. Like he's.
Listen, I say this, not even jokingly. Gary Sanchez is the Yankees catcher. They're in the World Series, bro. Like Gary would have thrown that guy out by so fucking much. That's the one thing Gary does at a really really high level of throws.
Yes. Hold on. Gary Sanchez is not catching Mariano Rivera's cutter. It's a pass ball. Dave Roberts is on third. That's how that goes.
Hey man, okay, you got me. Fair. You got me on that.
Definitely a strong arm. No doubt a strong arm. The glove.
It wouldn't have mattered when the ball was on the backstop and Dave was getting his ass.
Yeah, Dave Roberts scores from first is what I hear. That's how that would have went.
Fair. Fair. You got me on that one. Fair.
Part of the reason it was just a shocking time to be a Red Sox fan because we still weren't over 99. And I don't know if you remember the nonsense that happened at second base in 99. But
bro, I don't remember, bro. So often I forget that the Yankees and Red Sox even played in 99. Because the Yankees playoff games from '98 through 2000, at least 2000, there was some suspense because the Yankees won like one game in September. So it was like, oh, are they going to just put it together? They did. 98, 99 was just like, it was so boring that I don't remember shit that happened. Like, I remember they beat the brakes off the Braves in the World Series
Yeah.
in '99. I remember Tino's grand slam against the Padres, and I remember Scott Brosius' home run to win the series against the Padres. Don't ask me about much else. I don't remember much else that happened because they were just walking through everybody.
Part of '99 that got some of the life taken out of it was Pedro was like very broken. Like he barely, like, to get through Cleveland, he had to come out of the bullpen in Game 5, and he couldn't throw fastballs because of how much pain he was in. He was just only throwing curveballs. So I don't remember him pitching against. He may have toughed it out because he was a psychopath. But it was like, all right,
He
like they're
definitely. I was
past.
looking at his playoff numbers the other day. He did. He did. I don't remember what he did off top, but I know he pitched in '99.
Yeah, like like it was just like obvious. Yeah, '99. That was one of the games they, of course it was. What a sicko. He went 7 innings, 12 strikeouts in Game 3. They won 13-1.
It was the only game in the series they won.
Yeah. Yeah. But there was another game, I believe it was Jose Offerman, was safe at second, and they called him out. And it was obviously before replay, and it was in Yankee Stadium. So, like, being the persecuted Red Sox fan at the time, it was just like, are we ever going to get a single call ever? Like, now we're not even asking for like a bad call. Like, can we get a correct call one time? And then in 04, again, pre-replay, they start calling like overturning home runs, getting ground rule doubles correctly. It was just like, this is a very unfamiliar feeling because we were still reeling from no calls ever going our way. When they call A-Rod out, I was shocked, like genuinely shocked.
Oh man, A-Rod. Oh god, the A-Rod thing is so funny because it was Photoshop became a thing when.
Like then, I think that
Right, because I was like, the first Photoshop image I ever remember was him with the purse.
yeah.
Like, that's the first Photoshop image I ever remember was him with the purse. And boy, they ran that to death. And listen, rightfully so. It was embarrassing. Like, you did that and your team lost the series in historic fashion. Yeah, it was deserved, but it was like, bro, I couldn't stop seeing this. I'm talking about, like, my mother was sharing images of this. Like, did you see A-Rod with the purse? I'm like, bro, you don't even watch baseball. What you mean I see A-Rod with the purse? Why are you asking me this? You don't even watch baseball. You can't name 4 players of the Yankees. You asked me, did I see A-Rod with the purse? That's how far it got. That's how widespread the fucking A-Rod with the purse image got.
See, and now I hope people understand why sometimes white teenagers call their mom a bitch, because that's a bitchy move to not even watch baseball and be like, hey, you remember this terrible thing? Someone made it funnier. It's like,
I don't co-sign that at all. Because if I had ever called my mom a bitch, I wouldn't be here doing this, this show with Coley.
Listen, I get it. And I don't co-sign it either. I'm just saying there are some examples where you understand.
It's one of those. It's one of those. I ain't saying he should have did it, but I understand. One of those. Yeah, I get
it. Yeah,
I get it.
But yeah, there was that one. That one by far. I mean, I can't imagine. 04 Twitter, how many retweets that would have got.
Can you imagine?
But
Can
there
you
was
imagine
that.
how many different things they would have put on A-Rod's arm by the time that was all said and done? Imagine.
But it was that, and then someone, because he had those big white gloves on, they put the hamburger helper gloves on him. Those were the 2. Obviously,
I never saw
Purse was number 1. I mean, Purse was number 1 in a blowout.
Massive blowout. Like, but I'm talking about 22 to 3 kind of blowout, bro. It was just the purse and everything else.
But him standing on second after the conference and being like, "That's just how I run." I was like, "Dude, if you don't hit the bricks,
you don't get the fuck to the bench, bro." Him holding his hands on his head like
he couldn't believe it.
Like, brother, you slapped the ball out of his hands. What do you think happened? We all saw it. There's 15 instant replays. There's 15 angles where we saw you slap the ball out of this man's glove, and you talking about what happened?
Me and him had the same reaction when they called him out, because again, I was not used to them making that call correct. Like, Jeter scores, And then would they have to take the run off the board and put him back on second? Like they didn't even put him on third. They put him all the way back at second. They might have put him at first now that
I
I
think they
think
put
about
him
it.
at first, bro.
Because A-Rod was out. So yeah, I think they put him all the way back at first.
They put him at first.
Like, can you I don't think people and I hate refs, umpires, all of them, like very against them. But I don't think people understand how ballsy it was in 2004 in old Yankee Stadium to be like, Derek Jeter, you put your helmet back on, pal. You're going back to first, and Alex Rodriguez is out. That takes fucking balls to make. They all knew. The whole conference was just like, are we going to get killed if we make this call? That was the whole conference they had. And they nearly were. They nearly were killed for making
that. Conferences like that, it's like, you're not looking at a replay. We all saw what happened. It's clear as day what happened. You're having a 7-minute conference. Like there's nothing to that besides, hey, what do you think is going to happen right now? Number one. Number two, maybe if we give them 7 minutes, they'll calm down a little bit. False, but I can see why they say that at that moment. I can see why they would be like, if we come out immediately with this, yo, they're going to be mad as hell. Maybe we need to wait like 4 minutes and give them a little bit of a time to relax. Like, no, like that's not gonna work. I get why you would think that, but it's not gonna work. They're gonna be just as mad. They're gonna toss shit on the field. Like, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, they're like, maybe if we let them see the replay a couple of times, they'll start to understand.
As if any home crowd has ever seen the replay and be like, man, you know what? That's the right call against my team. No, they boo it all the same. They can have 100 angles of evidence, and the call is overturned. Boo! Boo!
Listen, come on. I think they were stalling because they were like, is the National Guard, how many blocks? How far away are they?
They had him in the headset. Hey, yo, how many blocks are they away, bro? I'm not trying to take no chance with my life, dog. You said they were 8 block space. You want me to stall some more? Okay, yeah. Bet. We'll huddle up. Okay.
They were there quickly, and they were very needed to be out there.
Old Yankee Stadium was a zoo. I don't blame them. It was a zoo.
Of course. And zoo. It was 04. The Yankees just lost a World Series that they thought was theirs too. So this wasn't like, oh, let's just beat the Red Sox. They're like, oh, is it over? They don't win in 01. They don't win in 02. 03, they lose to the Marlins, which still feels insane.
And the Yankees were in the midst of blowing a 3-0 lead. This was game 6. Right. So it's like everybody's already on edge. The whole crowd is on edge. The players are everybody on edge. And to go out there and be like, A-Rod, you're out. Jeter, you go back to first. That takes courage. The complete right call, we all know it's the right call, but it still took courage to make.
Unbelievable courage. The Bill Miller home runs, I think both of them were questionable. They were both like, one hit the pole and it was so loud you couldn't really hear it hit the pole. So they were like, was that fair? Them making all those calls correctly should have been the biggest evidence baseball didn't even need replay. Like, never needed it. Just be better at your job.
That's funny because they had replay and they still get the shit wrong anyway. So like, what is the point? We're gonna send
more than they used to.
We're gonna have 10 minutes worth of looking at the same play, 8 different angles, and we're still gonna get it wrong. So what was the point? What's the point of this?
Insane. But the reason I think it ties in perfectly that who is Kareem Garcia quote into this year's playoffs. Orlando Arcia, dude, what are you doing?
Tough.
What is it with these Sia ass last names that don't know when to keep their fucking mouths shut? Kareem Garcia, Taunton Pedro, like, you've got 20 other teammates more qualified to do that. Orlando Arcia, you weren't even their A plan this year for shortstop. Like, you should just be thrilled to be there. And he had a great season. Not trying to take that away from him. You're not the guy who talks. You almost let Bryce be safe because you didn't get that relay pass, that relay throw. And like, you were part of the reason.
You didn't even make the play close. On top of everything else here. You didn't even make the play. So him talking crazy is wild.
Saying "attaboy Bryce," maybe he didn't even say it. I don't even know, but maybe he did.
It's very possible. It's very possible. But wait, who even reported that it was said? Was it Bryce that said it himself, or did somebody else say it?
That's a good question. All I've seen is
Bryce said it himself. That might be one of those. He just makes shit up. Like,
Michael
because
Jordan.
we know great players are they're a little cuckoo. So like, it wouldn't be surprised if he made this shit up. If somebody else reported, like, all right, you have no reason to make that shit up. Okay, so
Right. I mean, it's been run with to the point where I don't think it's fake. And it doesn't matter at this point because
at all.
Bryce went out there, hit two tanks last night, months ago, whenever the fuck you're watching this, hit two tanks, and he's staring down. I said earlier, Adolis Garcia had the second best picture of the playoffs so far. Number one, Bryce coming around second, standing on second, staring down Orlando Arcia. And because it's at night too, it kind of looks like when Kawhi met Obama. Like it kind of looks a little deep fried.
That's a hell of a cop. I like that one.
So it's just an unbelievable. It makes Bryce look like the villain and the hero simultaneously because of the shadowing. It's
It's a
unbelievable.
fire photograph, is what I know. It's a fire photo.
And I said this the other day when Bryce hit one of his other fucking home runs. I'll never I've got two children. I'll never know how to talk to them about Bryce Harper hitting unrestricted free agency and no one caring. I don't know what to say to them.
I have thoughts on that. Listen, first of all, fuck Hal Steinberg. I don't know if that's controversial.
Sure.
Fuck Hal Steinberg, number one. Number two, larger point. Forgive me if I get a little bit long-winded on this. I'm very, very tired of hearing about how Cashman fumbled that, bro. And then we get the tweet every time Bryce does something. I see the tweet from like 2018 where Cashman's like, Bryce Harper doesn't make sense for us. We have these outfielders, and he can't play first. Listen, what the real answer here is: my owner won't fucking pay for him. He can't say that. Stop. Like, this is all about how any high price free agent that did not sign here or they didn't show interest to, it falls into one of two buckets. One, they just didn't want to fucking be here. Two, how's a broke boy and acts like it. It's one of the two. Stop. Cashman didn't fumble anything. And this is not a Brian Cashman defense. This is the GMs take bullets for the owners all the fucking time.
All the time.
All the fucking time. Because they can't say, my owner's broke. Or he's acting like he's broke. They can't fucking say that shit. They cannot say the owner's a broke boy. They can't say that shit. So they got to make up some nonsense. And Bryce Harper's been certified since he was like 9. So there's nothing that you can say baseball-wise that's going to make any type of sense as to why you don't want this Hall of Fame trajectory guy who gets on base at a 40% clip, who hits left-handed in Yankees. There's nothing that's going to make sense. Stop it. Thank you.
I do think, and I'm being very serious, I don't think he's as good as baseball if he has to be clean shaven every day. I genuinely believe that.
There's something to be said for your work environment. That is part of your work environment. I'm not there with it, but like, there's something to be said for like, all right, maybe other stuff is going wrong, and I have to look like this too. Like, on top of that, like, come on. Even though like we've seen Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole looks like a thumb without facial hair, but
he didn't look great with facial hair. Like that, it's different. Like Garrett Cole's really good at baseball. Was never primed to be on the cover of GQ. Me either. So I get it. Like, I very much get it. But Harper, I don't know. Like, I remember saying it when we were doing Section 10. Red Sox win the World Series in 18. It's just like, oh yeah, what are we gonna do? Bring everyone back? And I was just like, why wouldn't they sign Bryce? Like, at that, it was still Dombrowski. You know what I mean? It was still, they spent a shit ton of money that offseason. It was on pitchers that were broken immediately and Steve Pearce and things like this. But if they knew they weren't going to re-sign Mookie and all that, why not go after Bryce?
And the thing is, with Bryce is like, he's not even making that much money. That's the crazy part about it.
He's not.
Like, per year, he's making like $25 million, bro. It's not even like now that you say it, like, I've been so consumed with the fact that the Yankees were just like, no, because the owner wanted to be broke. So I never really considered just how little interest there was at offseason, but you're so right.
for
And it
anyone.
doesn't make it makes no fucking sense. Outside of like maybe they just don't like the person. Now I think that it's stupid. Don't get me wrong, because the player still says what he says, but there's nothing that makes sense here. Because like he's not a criminal.
No.
He doesn't. It's not like teammates don't like him. Like we've never heard that, right?
Only Papelbon.
Right, and Papelbon is his own brand of fucking nuts. So like
Right.
that's one instance. So it's like if he's a good teammate, which everybody has said, he's a great player. He did not have durability issues.
No.
It really doesn't make sense that there wasn't a long line. Now at the same time, Manny was a free agent the same year, right?
Yeah.
And there wasn't a whole lot of interest in him either. So maybe that was just a that year thing. I don't fucking know, but it's
No,
weird.
there was like a 3-year stretch there, and it was all leading up to the lockout that happened,
Mm-hmm.
where there was like, I think I have to say, alleged collusion, so I don't get sued. But I remember Boris and a couple other big agents being like, this is collusion. Like this is because Bryce signed the last day of February. You know what
He
I mean?
did.
Like pitchers and
He
catchers,
did.
everyone's reported.
Yeah, he did.
Manny also signed late too. I think he was
He did.
beginning of February, mid
He
February,
sure
something
did.
like that. The year before that, 18, JD Martinez didn't sign till I think mid February. Like and he was 110. You know what I mean? Not crazy money at all.
Mm-hmm.
He was trying
Yep.
to. I think they were arguing over like 110 versus 130 or something like that. But the Reds, like, I've been shitting on Dombrowski a lot this year, but where I give him credit, he knew he wasn't bidding against anyone. He was just like, 110, I know that's your highest offer right now. So it'd be insane for me.
I feel like that's a staring contest. That's just the Red Sox are like, look, we are bidding against air. And then JD's like, bro, I just don't want to do the whole spring training. So just like,
Right.
bro, just I'll sign February 16th. I'll see you then, bro. Like,
And,
yes, I know I'm
and
not going
I'm,
to get the $20 million, but I might as well negotiate until like the 15th. Then I sign the deal that's on the table and I go to camp.
well, and I'm also sure at that point too, it's just like, well, I know you're not going to, like, you're not giving this to anyone else. So I know
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
not going anywhere. Maybe someone gets hurt and someone else that's a contender, because he did want to go to a contender. Someone else that's a contender, a spot opens up and they want to spend more. Like, I understand it from the players' side too, because you never know. If Xander took the Red Sox first offer, he wouldn't be a billionaire now. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's
True.
okay to wait.
True.
The
Yeah.
Blazers didn't just take Miami's first dog shit offer. They waited. Sometimes waiting's okay. That was not the case with Bryce Harper. It was kind of like fucking Lamar Jackson when he was like, I would like someone to pay me. And the Atlanta Falcons were like, won't be us. We
Bruh.
promise it won't be
Bruh.
us. And
If
Bryce
that ain't
Harper
the
was kind
most
of the same
obvious
thing.
alleged collusion that I've ever seen, I
Right.
don't know what is. Like, it was insane.
I mean, the New York Post had that back page that had Bryce and Manny on it. That was like during the 18
Yes.
regular season, but
Yes.
the Yankees never even made a play for Machado, did they?
Nope.
Right. And I understand
Nope.
that's Hal and all that, but like the Red Sox weren't going to make a play for Machado. They actively hated him for what he did to Pedroia. I understood that. Bryce Harper in Fenway, like they could have traded Mookie and I'd be the only one still upset about it. Like there would be everyone
Right.
just like, well, we got Bryce Harper. Like,
Right.
but it's just like the Cubs. I remember the Cubs, him and Chris Bryant have been friends since they were 10. The Cubs were like, oh, we're going to get Bryce. They never made a remote offer. The Dodgers never put themselves in the mix. So then again, you go to the, like, why did the Phillies even spend that much? They were bidding against air too. Although the Nationals did give an offer. It was just like, we're going to be paying you till 2085, but they
Yes.
gave an offer.
Yeah, man, we're gonna be paying you like when your great grandkids are in school. Like, yeah, it was one of those. But you're right, man. I don't understand why the interest was so scant, but it makes you look around and realize that there was some bullshit afoot. Because if Bryce was
Big,
free agent this year, like the same Bryce, same profile, same age, we're having an entirely different discussion, and we're not talking about signing him for 13 years, like at a low AAV. Like, there's no way we're having that discussion if that free agency happens now.
No, and it's like I'll he was just sitting there. And I tweeted about this the other day. I do think the Dodgers eventually they offered like 4 for 200 or something, 4 for 180 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was like, well, if no one's going to sign this guy, we don't really want to tie up long-term money to him, but we'll take him for a couple of years. And he rightfully was like, I just want to sign my massive $250
That's
million
my sign
dollar
my
deal
one
and
deal.
be
Like
done
it,
with
it
it.
just seemed like he wanted to be in one place, which good for him.
I find it hard to believe if the Red Sox and Yankees weren't also bidding, he wouldn't have ended up in one of those.
Well, I meant length of the deal or anything else. It
Sure.
just seemed
Yeah.
like he
Okay. Yeah.
wanted to
Yeah. Yeah.
be in one
Yeah.
place for 10, 11, 12 years, whatever. Like, I mean, he did say, like, when he signed the deal and they had an interview with him on the fucking spring training field, and
Right.
he was
Right.
like, I'm yours, I'm here. Like 13 years,
Yes.
no ops, no trade, no trade clause. I mean, no, I think he has no trade, if I'm not mistaken,
Had
whatever it
to have.
was. Yeah, right. So like no veto, whatever. Like I'm here. I'm going to be here. I'm yours, and that we're just gonna have to learn to love each other. And I mean, nobody has pandered to it, and I say this in a good way. Nobody's pandered
Yeah.
to a
Oh
team
yeah.
quite like Bryce with Philly. Like he gets it.
Oh yeah. I
He
mean,
gets it. And if he goes to hit 450-foot playoff home runs, they're gonna love him even more.
right.
You
Right.
know?
He ended up in the right place. Like I enjoy seeing his Phillies career, but I'll never understand what the rest of the league was thinking. Because I believe, yeah, the Jason Hayward had been gone from Atlanta. They could have signed him before they started signing everyone to minimum wage. Like him and Acuna would have been crazy. There's no excuse for really any of these. The White Sox, every year their fans like, this is the year we're going to spend, and then Reinsdorf's like, no, it isn't.
Andrew
So,
Benintendi is the richest contract ever handed out by the White
right.
Sox. Don't you ever forget that shit either. Pathetic.
Listen, I mean, the Mets. Think about if Cohen had just been there a couple of years sooner. There's no way he would have let Bryce sign with the Phillies.
Zero shot.
So that's where it's like that was embarrassing for the sport. Good for the Phillies, like great for the Phillies. They cleaned up. They had a couple really important off seasons in a row between Bryce and Real Muto. Like Real Muto's
Yeah.
another guy who didn't draw as much because he was a catcher, didn't draw as much interest as he should have.
But he got traded though, didn't he?
Did he get traded his last year and then signed? I thought he hit free agency.
No, he got traded because he got traded for they traded what's the pitcher's name? Sixto?
Oh,
Sixto?
yeah,
Yeah,
6-0. Yeah, I
that
think
was
you're right.
the trade that was the deal for real. Yeah, he got traded to Philly.
Yeah, traded. Yeah, for Sixto, Jorge Alfaro, which is pretty funny.
Right.
But he did hit free agency in 2020, so I do remember that.
Oh, he
hit
did.
free.
Okay.
Yeah, so he got traded to Philly in 19, so there were 2 years left then. He gets traded February 19, October 2020, it's free agency. He re-signs January 21. It's just like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get it.
The Bryce thing, I really I don't understand. But, like, there's nothing that he doesn't do well. Like that's the thing. We are in the pro analytic era where it's like, all right, we love guys who hit for power, we love guys who get on base. Bryce does both of those things very, very fucking well, and he hits left-handed.
And he's like,
and
a
he doesn't have
face of the
platoon
league.
worries either. Like he hits lefties, he hits right.
No,
So
no platoon worries, and he's like a face of a franchise player who just hit free agency, and teams were like, "We're all set. We have no interest."
I don't understand. And all of the teammates seem to love him.
He was like 26 too. It wasn't like he was he was knocking on the door at 30. Like he was a teenager.
He
like
was in his fucking prime. Like you beg for players like that to become free agents so you can sign them, or fans do at least. I can't speak for owners, but I don't know.
We'll see what happens with Soto, and really just so like there's no other comp to Bryce hitting free. I mean, Seager hit free agency. There wasn't I don't remember a ton of interest.
There wasn't, at least publicly, at least.
Sure,
like
yeah, sure,
there wasn't
sure.
a lot of interest publicly. Like, and I know, I know Brian Cashman very much wanted Corey Seager, and you could guess why they didn't make an offer. But I give you one guess.
No, and I mean he did sign for a crazy amount. Like I was even
He did.
shocked when the number came through for Seager because I was just like, oh, that's like
It's a
70
lot.
million more than I expected.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, because the
but
thing
he's
is that
good.
when you see a market like that unfold, and there isn't a lot of public interest for a guy
For
who has
sure.
had durability issues, and you still see him get 330, it's like, wow, like that's a lot. Good for him, but that's a lot. You don't expect it. I don't think anybody expected that deal except Seager and his representation. I don't think anybody expected that
Sure,
deal.
yeah. Well, I'm sure the Dodgers made like a token. I'm sure they weren't like, we don't care if you resign, like, or
Yeah, I'm
leave. Like,
sure. I'm sure they made some weak ass offer that he was
well,
like,
I bet it
no,
was even. I'm sure it was like
pass.
7 to 10. Like, I'm sure it was like a high AAV, but nothing that was going to cripple them long term from doing other stuff. I'm sure
Right.
they knew Turner was a rental anyways, so it was like, I don't think they were punting Seager. I think they just set a line that they wouldn't go past, and I'm sure that number was way lower than
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
330.
yeah. And it's funny because they had Trey Turner and Corey Seager on the same team, and then we're just like, we don't want either one of them. I mean, we don't want to pay either one of them. It's funny.
No, and I'd rather have Seager honestly than Turner.
So would I. So would I. I mean, Seager's one of the very best hitters in the sport,
Right.
and like the defense isn't bad enough for me to care. Like I don't give a fuck
No,
about his defense. Like it's not bad enough for me to
Turn.
care.
I just remember looking at it a lot because people like to harp on Xander's defense. That last year in the Dodgers, I don't know what it looked like this year. Trey Turner was terrible
He
defensively.
was. He was.
Like,
He
awful.
was. He's fine now. Like he's been fine, but like the last year he was with the Dodgers, his OAA or his defensive run save
Yeah.
rather was awful. Yeah,
Yeah, it was like -8 or something like that, like
it
way
was.
low there. But the Phillies just don't care. And so I respect the Phillies. Um, but yeah, so far the Yankees, all they've committed to this offseason is sleeping. They're going to be big time, well rested next season. They're getting sleep chambers put in at Yankee Stadium. Other than that, I don't think they're going to do much.
Listen, I'm not going to be the guy who is going to overreact to making the work environment better. Please do that. Can we just get better workers? I feel like I'm just asking for a very basic demand. Please just make the workers better, especially the bats. The people who get paid to hit, get better batters. Please. I just and the thing is with Hal with this, it's not the action that's the problem. It's the fact that he thinks we need to know this is the problem. Why do we care? Seriously, who does this serve? Because if you're trying to sign a free agent, number one, I'm fairly certain they don't give a fuck about this. Number two, you could just tell them that shit directly when you talk to them. When you talk to
Big
their,
time.
their agency, you could just tell them directly. This message is for the fans. Why the fuck do you think we care? Why do you think we care? I, I don't give a fuck how much DJ LeMahieu sleeps. That's not my problem. It's not my problem. I don't care how. I don't care where Aaron Judge eats his Funyuns before the game. I don't give a fuck. That's not my problem. What are they doing on game day? Like, yes, you're fostering a better environment. That's great. That's for them to care about. It's October 11th. Nobody gives a fuck about that right now. The free agents haven't even thought about signing nowhere yet. It's October
No.
11th. The playoffs are going on, and you're talking to me about, well, we got better couches now. I don't care. I don't. I do not give a fuck if you have better couches. No disrespect. No, like, with all due respect, I don't care if you have better couches. Like, again, working environment is great. Like, if the Yankees had won 104 games this year and they got knocked out in the ALCS, and this dropped like a week after that, all right,
Right.
cool. Like I wouldn't think anything of it. They didn't make the playoffs this year. Your roster looks old and broken, and you're telling me we have better beds now.
Yeah, they're old. They need sleep.
They need better players too. There's a lot of needs here. They need better fucking players. Yeah, they're old. Those two sentiments directly clash. They're old. They need to. Yeah, they're old. They need to be replaced. Is what it
No.
is. They need to be replaced.
I think Hal's telling you what their plan is for this old ass roster. Like these boys are going to be catching big Z's all year long.
Bro, like I don't like. I'm supposed to give a fuck where they have their pregame fish and rice. Why do I care? Why do I care? Why do I care about this? Like that's my only problem with the story. It's a very basic thing. Like everybody wants to make. Well, not everybody. some owners want to make their working conditions better for their players. Not everybody, because I know the Pittsburgh Pirates. I don't even want to know what the fuck is going on in their clubhouse. I have no idea. Don't want to fucking know. Right. So it's a very basic thing. Like, all right, you're making it easier for them to sleep. They got better places to eat, hang out, whatever. Okay, that's lovely. I just don't know why you think we need to know about this. Am I gonna go on a rant on Twitter about this shit? No, because it's not that serious in the grand scheme of things. I would just like Hank Halsteimer. It doesn't really matter that much if he gets better at reading the room, but I would like him to read the room because shit like this is unnecessary. It's completely we don't care. You're telling the fans this. It's not even like we could lie to ourselves and say, you know what, they're putting money into having a state of the art clubhouse, so they're definitely going to put money into the team. We can't make that connection with Hal Steinbrenner because he'll be like yeah, here man, damn, here we gave y'all some good beds and shit, and we gave y'all a good place to sleep. Like, no, we're not going to sign Juan Soto or whoever the fuck is a free agent. No, we're not going to sign them. Like, you're going to take these beds, you're going to like it. That's what he's gonna do, and then we're gonna be like, "Oh, well, why didn't he sign somebody?" God forbid, but you want to tell us, "Yeah, we got better beds, we got better a better dining space." I don't give a fuck about your dining space. That has nothing to do with me. Unless you go invite me in there to eat with them, I don't give a fuck about your dining space, and you're not. So I don't give a fuck about your dining space. Miss me with that shit, please.
The only free agent who was excited about this was Yusei Kikuchi. He was just like, beds,
Yo, the
I'll be
Yankees
there.
side Yusei Kikuchi, like we could legitimately spend like 45 minutes on that alone. Like, I almost want that to happen just for content.
He's
Seriously,
like,
like, we can spend so much time on that alone, bro.
it's like their sleep chambers are second to none. I've been everywhere. I've slept here. I've
Hey,
slept.
bro, they got Kikuchi's age on the phone. Like, hey, yo, we got the fire beds now. Kikuchi's like, oh, really? I don't even care what the dollar amount is. Sign me,
Yeah.
sign me. Show me the money. Show me the paper. Where can I sign?
The Red Sox fired all of their coaches, which I'm fine with. They didn't seem to be doing a great job. Uh, so they're gone. None of them replaced. I don't know whose job that even is because we still don't have a chief baseball officer, executive, whatever the fuck. And we're coming up on free agency, so they better have that shit figured out soon and very soon.
I hope they don't. I hope they just make it a team effort.
Well,
Who's the team? I don't know, but I hope just make it a team effort. Let the
I mean,
fans sign the players. Fuck it.
right now, it looks like New Balance is going to sign us a player, which, I mean, I'll just buy New Balance the rest of my life if they pull this shit off. I promise. You won't
No
catch me in
thanks.
anything ever again.
No thanks. No, nobody needs
I've
that.
decided to treat this off season like I did when I was 13. When I was a teenager, I used to get just like a legal pad, and I would just write out all the free agents, and I would just write out different lineups and different starting rotations for like the whole pad. I'd be like, well, if you sign this guy and sign this guy, your lineup could look like this, your rotation could look like this, your bullpen could look like this. From everything the Red Sox have been saying publicly, privately, back channels, and all this, they've made it seem like Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto are priority 1 and 1B. And I've decided to get my hopes up and will accept nothing less.
You're gonna be really disappointed when you sign with the Yankees.
I can't
Really
imagine.
disappointed.
Shohei loves to be awake. It's all he talks about is being awake.
No, I'm not even talking about Shohei. That's dead. I'm talking about the
Uh,
Yamamoto. You're gonna be real disappointed when you sign with the Yankees.
I wouldn't say real disappointed. I would be. It would depend entirely off what else we've done at that point.
Oh, Shohei not signing with y'all either.
Listen, I'm not. If like that's the thing. If there's, I think there is a different approach to this off season that still involves spending some money getting neither of those guys and still having a really good baseball team next year. Like competitive championship aspiration team, even if you miss out on both those guys. But if they miss out on those guys and then like 4 other guys I'm thinking of, then yeah, I'll be genuinely furious, like angry.
I I can't wait till that podcast episode where they miss out on everybody. It's gonna be great. I can't wait for it. It's gonna be
But
amazing.
what I don't understand, and I said this the other day when the fucking New York Post was writing about it, I just don't really get the angle why Shohei to Boston's being pushed so hard now, like in the middle of the playoffs. Uh, it's early enough where I believe it. Like if this were happening a week into free agency, I'd be like, oh, this is smoke. But it happening now makes me think like this is like genuinely being considered just not by even the people in Boston, but by the guy who's going to dictate where he spends the rest of his career, most likely.
I hope it's smoke. The last
For
thing
sure.
I need is Shohei Ohtani in a Boston Red Sox uniform. I'd like to continue to enjoy him play. That'd be great. Can't do that if he's in a Red Sox uniform. So I prefer he signed quite literally damn near anywhere else. Anywhere else. I don't give a fuck where it is. Chicago, San Diego, Cincinnati. I don't give a fuck where you sign. Just don't sign in Boston.
Cincinnati signing him would be awesome. I think the last time they ever signed anyone was Ken Griffey Jr., so they do have a feel for the moment. Because Griffey was what, their second highest paid player this year behind Votto?
Yes. Yes. I don't know if that's still going on, but I know as of like last year that
Oh,
was
that
the
was
case.
this. No, that was this season for
Oh, that was
sure.
this season? Okay, yeah.
For
I know
sure.
last season I read the same blurb. The same blurb, yeah.
So if that's their whole thing, like every 25 years we'll sign a generational player, I
Great.
don't hate it.
Bring it on. Sign him. Bring it on. Just keep him the fuck away from me and my division, please. I know the Yankees not signing him, so just keep him out of my division, please. Thank you.
Listen, you would get the Jeff Passan tweet and you'd see REDS and have a heart attack. You wouldn't even finish. You wouldn't
Fair
even realize
point.
that was the end of it. You would just
Fair
be
point.
like,
Fair point. Fair point. Like, just hopefully he starts it off as Cincinnati, just to eliminate any confusion here. Like, Shohei Ohtani signed with the Cincinnati. Oh, thank God. If he said the red, oh no, God, no, I wouldn't even finish this. I wouldn't even finish the shit. I would just go out. I would just put my phone down, go outside, throw my hands up for like 15 minutes, and come back and realize, oh, it wasn't actually the Red Sox. Great,
that'd be
lovely.
very like I'd root for that just because like it would be awesome seeing him and Ellie back to back, and like it wouldn't affect me in the slightest him going to the Reds.
Right. That's the thing. Like purely baseball, it would be amazing,
Oh
but
yeah,
also just proximity wise, it's even better. Just keep them away from me. Thank you.
yeah. So that's my new number 2 team. I'm rooting for them. For them signing Shea. He's like, you know what? I just really want to live on the Ohio Kentucky border. That's what I've always wanted.
That's always been my dream. It's always been my dream. Always been my dream to go to Bengals games in the off season. It's always been
He's
my
like,
dream.
so the airport's technically Kentucky, but we play in Ohio. Wow, that's pretty good. That's pretty. I like Cincinnati. I don't know. I genuinely don't mean anything by this. I just think it'd be
Yeah,
very
no,
funny.
me too, man. I like the Reds. I have like 6 Reds hats, bro. I got the minor league affiliate hats too, man. I like the Reds. No smoke from me. Love them.
Otani in his first press. Oh, that was the other thing. In the middle of this season, and then we'll get out of here. In the middle of this season, I remember Masataka Yoshida was getting interviewed, and my antenna went up because this is going to shock people. I don't speak a single word of Japanese, not one of
No,
them.
you don't?
And he obviously has a translator. And I'm watching this guy and I'm like, this guy is for sure not paying attention. Like he's not like he whatever like I'll never be a translator for anything. But I knew this guy was not getting messages across. He got fired. He's gone. So I was right. They said they didn't think the what they were trying to relay to Yoshida was actually getting to him and vice versa. I don't know why they would give that large of a fuck unless they thought their translator was going to have a heavier load coming soon, whether it's Yamamoto or Shohei or fucking both. And one last thing on Yamamoto, everyone is going to be, I think, a little shocked when they look back and see what he signed for versus what you could have got Kodai Senga for last year.
Yes, I agree with that. I think Yamamoto's signing 175, 200 at a minimum.
I think it's going to be 2.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be like 7-2-10. I know I just did that for Seager, but I do think it's going to be around 2. And some of it's He just won the Triple Crown again. He just
Yeah.
like for the sixth straight year, and
Pitcher.
and one other ace took himself off the market, and Julio Urias. Like that just drives the price up for everyone else. It's not like the best angle to take when you're talking about Urias, but he's done out here. So if teams were looking for pitchers, now there's one less
Less
option.
options. Yep.
Yeah, and Yamamoto could easily be the top of these options. I don't even know if it's that debatable anymore. I wouldn't be shocked if that number started with a 2.
My favorite, my hands down favorite free agent is Blake Snell, simply because this is the only 2-time Cy Young Award winner that nobody's gonna want their favorite team to sign. It's great. I really nobody's gonna want their favorite team to sign Blake Snell. It's amazing because
I wouldn't be
not
against
so much like not sign him, but like if you ever see like insert favorite team here, prepared to offer Blake Snell a 7-year deal. Ooh, nobody wants that. Nobody wants it. Even though like Blake Snell is the most inconsistent 3.1 ERA pitcher of all time. Like it's hard to believe that his ERA is that fucking low, but it is.
He's got filthy stuff. He nibbles. He doesn't go deep into games. We've had no pitching to the point where if Snell's one of the guys we sign, I can't be upset about it. You just can't.
I know I've said on this very show multiple times that the Yankees need arms. I want no pieces of Blake Snell. Not like, listen, if they sign him for a reasonable deal, I'm not going to get up on here and bitch about it. My thing is like a big part of being a fan at this point is being entertained. Brother, I hate watching that man pitch. Like, no, I can't do this for an entire 3, 4, 5. No, I can't do it. No,
I don't.
no.
I like watching him pitch because he's the antithesis of everything else going right now. Like it's very much stuff versus like following what the computer says. He's just like, I know my stuff's gonna play. It's not gonna be every day. There's gonna be days I'm just missing. I'm missing my spots, and those are gonna be
That's
tougher
every
days.
day. That's every day. He always misses his spot. That's every day. That's not new for
That's
him.
not
Like
no,
he
he's not.
always fucking nibbles.
That's what I mean. He's hitting his spots, but it's like, how wide's the plate going to be? Who's this umpire? Is the other team going to take? Are they going to be patient? Because most teams won't. They're going to see this is close to a strike, and they're
This
going to
man,
swing.
bro, this man sits 97. I'm not trying to hit his shit. I gotta watch this, bro. I didn't like watching Jordan Montgomery pitching. He has like 1/1,000,000th the stuff. No disrespect to Montgomery, he's a good pitcher, but obviously Blake Snell's
Yes.
in a different pantheon when it comes to stuff. And like this guy has a wipeout slider, upper echelon fastball, and I gotta watch him pitch like late career Al Leiter. No, pass. No, no. I get over it. Like if it ever came out, the Yankees signed Blake, I get over it like 24 hours until like April 1st comes. I gotta watch him pitch. I was like, oh fuck, I gotta do this. Like
I thought
5 innings, 112 pitches. Like oh my god.
we'll get more into free agency. I mean, we've talked about it a little because both of our teams have been bad ever since the show started, but we'll get more into
Yes.
free agency as the World Series winds down, as the NLCS gets set, all that. But I think the most interesting part of Blake Snell's free agency is he going to make you sign his catcher too? Does that take the Yankees out of it right there?
um, I don't know, man. They might get me up out of here if I gave my real thoughts on that. Because if you're interested in Blake Snell, and all it took was, hey, pay my man 1 year, $6 million, and I don't have to start him all the time.
Oh yeah,
Sign him up. Sign me up for that. Why wouldn't I? Like all I have to do is play Gary twice a week. He better than Kyle Higashioka. We've been over this. I know Yankee fans been lying about that shit for 4 fucking years. He better than Kyle Higashioka. Get out of my face. He better than that dude. Trevino, depends on what you prefer, really. Fine. Okay, cool. But Austin Wells is the guy. Like, all right, if all it took was, hey man, Gary's the backup. Go ship Jose Trevino off somewhere. Be done with it. And send Kyle Higashioka a nice thank you card and don't extend him a fucking offer. Be done with it. It would be easy if you really wanted Blake Snell that bad. That's a small price to pay, in my opinion. And also, I kind of want that now for the Chaos. Now that you bring it up,
Be
I
very
kind of
fun.
want that. If we ever got the Yankees signed Gary Sanchez, oh my, I would have the time of my life if
Imagine
we
if
ever
that one
got
came
that.
first. You got that one first.
Even
Like,
better, even better, even better. And like, don't even drop the Blake Snow shit till like the next day.
right,
Even
right.
better. Don't even like then give it like 24 hours before you actually drop the Blake Snow news. Drop the Gary sign for 1 year, $6 million. Drop that shit on Tuesday. Drop the Blake Snell shit Wednesday night. Don't even drop it Wednesday morning. Drop it Wednesday night in the depths of the night.
That'd be very funny. Genuinely very funny.
I'm ready for that now.
But I have been thinking about it because I do think the Red Sox are going to be heavy for a starting pitcher. Blake Snell is available.
I don't need Gary Sanchez in Fenway at
That's what I
all.
mean. There's a
At
strong
all.
chance. A
I
strong
don't
chance
need
it
Gary
works out
Sanchez in
quite
Fenway for a
well.
lot of reasons. I don't. I know he's gonna hit a few over that damn monster to burn the Yankees at some point. Nobody needs that. I don't need that.
That's why I think it'd be very fun. Again, it may not be the best baseball idea, but entertainment, content wise, very funny. So part of me is rooting for that. But like I said, we'll dive much deeper into free agency, especially once the Red Sox have a fucking guy who can make decisions on that. But until that point, I am Coley Mick.
K. Lou.
We'll see you guys next week.